Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I'm sure a lot of you were at the Launchpad and saw what Mini Confluence was about, but I wanted to just give you a quick overview, and today I'll be probably about as brief as we were yesterday, so hopefully you'll appreciate that. Last year, many of you were at the summit. We launched Mini Confluence, what we're now calling Personal Edition, which was a paid-for iPhone app that's in the App Store today, and it uses the XML RPC API that's embedded in Confluence. You actually have to turn it on in order for it to work, but we built the app so that it would be supported by Confluence straight out of the box. The challenges we had with that, and we had a lot of feedback from everybody, was that it was fairly slow. The XML RPC library, and Atlassian has said as much, it's pretty chatty, and so you have to make several requests over the net in order to get a page to render properly. The second thing is it didn't support all the features. As Confluence was evolving and adding features, the XML RPC library was sort of slow to catch up. And so talking directly with Atlassian and working with them over the past year, we created our own custom plugin to solve some of the problems that all of our users have encountered and some of the things that people have been asking for. Mainly, one of the things that we heard last year at the summit was, how does an enterprise-wide organization use it, and what kind of support will you provide for BlackBerry? So we've got some announcements for that. If you were at the Launchpad, you've heard a few of them, but we'll talk a little bit more. We had 5 goals this year for the Enterprise Edition when we started building it last summer. One was to create the custom plugin and make it really easy for organizations of all sizes to get it installed and deployed. So unlike just turning on the XML RPC library in Confluence, what you actually have to do is install a plugin. It's very simple. There's a single screen to set it up, which would require you to put in your license key that we generate for you when you purchase the plugin. And there's no cost to the end users. One of the things that we found as a plugin provider or a vendor trying to support Atlassian products, selling apps in the App Store is a difficult market, especially for something this specific and sort of a niche product. So we inverted the model. We are charging for the plugin, but the iPhone app is free to all of your users. And it supports Confluence 2.8 through the current versions. We wanted to support a wider range of mobile clients. We initially started out, obviously, we've got the native iPhone app, which we think is a really great experience, but we wanted to find a way to support Android, Palm Pre, as well as BlackBerry clients, which BlackBerry, it's a bit of a challenge because of the differences in the hardware and the differences in the browser as BlackBerries have matured. But we're happy to say that we've got iPhone. We also have it running successfully through what we're calling the web client view for BlackBerry, Palm Pre, and Android. We've made it so that it looks very, very similar to the iPhone app in terms of the dashboard and scrolling and the touch gestures, the things that you would expect from the iPhone we're now getting on the BlackBerry, well, obviously with the BlackBerry with the 5-way controller, but with the Android, the touch gestures work just fine. And you'll see on each of those devices through the plugin, you'll also have the home screen that you see on the far left with the iPhone. So it'll be a very similar look and feel for your users and very consistent. And based on the popularity of the devices, we might build native clients for each of those platforms. But we'll definitely stick with the iPhone platform as a native client for sure moving forward. One big thing we wanted to do was improve the performance. So you no longer need to use the XML RPC library. Again, our plugin takes its place, and the performance is twice as fast now. And we've had some tweets that have been out there and some posts from, I think even Bill said that the new version of the app is really fast, so we're happy about that. It's installed currently on the Confluence Sandbox, and the URL for that is... Okay, wonderful. So you can download the app, and I'll talk about the beta program here in a second if you want to use it against your own instance. So we've added some social networking features so you can have access to the what's your status thing that you see in Confluence 3. And we're also supporting favorites. And these sync with the Confluence instance, the web instance that's running. So if you add favorites for spaces or pages or people through the web browser, they'll show up on your phone. And likewise, if you add them or remove them from your phone, they'll synchronize back with the website. We give you a modified view. Sorry about that. give you a modified view so that when you choose someone as your favorite, you get sort of an iPhoto 09 corkboard style thing where you can select those people and it'll take you to their profile page within Confluence. We support multiple accounts. We have people from last year ran multiple instances of Confluence for their organizations. We had a lot of universities that were talking to us that had sort of a public-facing one for the students, and then there was an internal one for the faculty members. So we've created the ability to create multiple accounts, just kind of like the Mail app on the iPhone. And so all you need to do is plug in the account credentials, give it a name, save that connection, and you can toggle between them from the home screen by choosing the accounts and selecting the active one. So we're happy to announce the beta program. It's a free program for the next 30 days if you sign up, and you can go to miniconfluence.com in order to sign up. All we're asking of you is your organization name and a valid email address. We're not trying to collect any other information. We won't share that information with anyone, but we want to be able to track who's signed up for the program in order to give them a discount. The other thing that we want to be able to do is if you sign up for the program, you get use of the plugin for 3 months through the end of August. But during that time, we're going to push out updates to both the plugin as well as the iPhone client. We actually already had an update to the iPhone client, so if you installed it on Tuesday, you might want to go back and check because there's already an update, and the iPhone will update that for you automatically. And we've already had plenty of people sign up for the beta program, so we're excited about it, and we hope you do. If you haven't signed up already, you will. And if you do participate and give us some feedback, we will give you a 30% discount if you purchase the plugin at the end of the beta program. Here's the standard pricing. We've had some questions about whether or not we're going to offer nonprofit or academic licenses, and we'll publish some of those. If you have an interest in that, please feel free to sign up for the beta program. It'll get us your contact information, and if you're from a university or a nonprofit, we will work with you on the pricing. But we tried to make the standard pricing as reasonable as possible across all the different sizes of Confluence, and there's that. And I'll leave it at that. miniconfluence.com for details. Thanks.
Next up, we have Eric Eccles from TaskDoc.
All right, I'll try to keep everyone awake on a Friday afternoon. So what we wanted to do today is just go over more specific use case around TaskDoc so you guys can get an idea of how we help within an organization. A little bit about ourselves. Currently, we're a team of 3. Currently growing and have been around for about 13, 14 months. And so we're excited as we've seen kind of the growth and feedback from all of our customers, the ability to get that back into the product really quickly. So to start off, Confluence, I mean, it's a warehouse of information that in a perfect world is completely organized with information flowing freely. Now the problem is a lot of those times as we go into customers, they have a lot of places that get deserted. Essentially, there's activity going on, but it's not occurring in Confluence. And so how do you get that activity, that engagement working? And so what we did was we looked at, okay, how do we find this stuff? And I mean, we all know this is, a lot of it's trapped in email. I mean, it's, hey, Joe, can you get that mock-up updated? I need an attachment or a spreadsheet updated. All of that stuff occurs, but a lot of times it gets pushed in the inbox. And so the problem with that is everything becomes stale. You're not getting the most recent updates. You're going to the person directly. You're not staying at that central kind of source of truth for your data. You don't have any of the accountability or the transparency of like, okay, what is going on? Who's doing what and where? And then lastly, if you're running with email, you don't actually see the productivity, the loss there. Like, what are the bottlenecks going on? Who do I know is slowing this down? And so to bridge that gap, that was part of why we put together TaskDoc and how we've released it so far to the market. And the big part is it's part of Confluence. If you look at the UI, if you get inside of there, it feels native. The other thing is we look to actually get people involved through email instead of pushing away from it, saying, hey, everyone must be in Confluence to participate. What happens is you get more content in there, more tasks, you're actually going to need better reporting. So that's what we've actually brought in as well. So as you go past content and start putting in your to-do lists and so forth, you can get reporting to build project management out of that. And then lastly, we really allow people to stay in their preferred tools. And that's what we're going to talk about specifically today as I take you through a little bit of the product. So the example is you've got Joe who lives in Jira every day. Sally obviously is in email. And myself, I'm living in Confluence. And we're going to talk about how I can actually bring these 3 people to talk about the mock of our new website. So to start off, you'll see here, you're on a page. This is a mock-up for a new website that I need a review on. So I'm going to go in and add my quick message, essentially, hey, I need a review for this. Now, I'm going to have this as a comment, and that what we're doing there is we're having the ability to actually assign a Confluence action or workflow to that. I now go through the user selection, which really comes right off the Confluence user database, assign it, and then in the case of people working in Jira, I can actually put it into the specific Jira project and then fix version against that. And so I know it'll post to there. So once it's saved, I can actually return up into the task, which now as I go in, I'm going to be able to see how it's been set up across those three people. So you can see myself and Joe are both in Jira, and then Sally, who isn't a Jira user, isn't given a Jira task. So as we look first at email completion, so this is Sally who's living in email. She gets a task. Obviously, you have an ICS file embedded within there, so you can actually create a reminder for yourself. So if you're using Jira a lot, you're numb from email, you can actually now just keep this in your native calendar. So once I choose to actually comment on that review, or the mock, I can actually come in, enter my message, and send it away. Real quick, we also do this within Gmail. Obviously, the integration with their calendar is pretty well embedded. So now as we go in to look at Jira completion, so how am I going to get the review of feedback on there? So as Joe logs into Jira, he's going to see the new task in the correct fix version. So I'm going to click through there. I'm going to see that, again, the right version, and then also the assignee and reporter is maintained across from Confluence to Jira. We do that with or without Crowd by doing some name matching. Now as you go in from Jira, I can see that Sally's already completed hers, and then what will happen for me, or for Joe, is I'm going to click comment on the page. You'll see the one from email above. Now Joe's going to comment, hey, looks great. And then what happens is TaskDoc realizes that this is coming from Joe and actually inserts the context of what he's replying to. So you can see, please review the feedback. Looks great. Now as we go in, we're going to look at it back into Jira, and it's already been marked as complete. And so there's no extra additions there. What you're doing is you're just focusing on the action, not so much managing the tasks. So now as myself, as I'm looking in here, I can actually get the update that they've both completed this. I can click into this page status and see they're both done. So what I'm going to do is I've actually signed it to myself as well, so I remember to basically, when they're finished, add the final comment or reply to what they're looking at. So as I go to the top, I can see there that they need more emphasis on the point. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to follow up on this and let them know that we're going to create a new mock for that. So here again, I'm going to post. At this point, it'll be completed. The context is inserted. As we return to the top, you'll notice the whole time we did this, I never had to go up and actually mark the completion of the task. And that's because we're focusing on those actions versus just a task list. So then, as we come back in, cool. So then, as you see that, basically what we've been able to do is get a full kind of round trip. It doesn't matter if you're living in email, if you're living in Confluence, or you're living in Jira, where you can start and finish and get the content complete. And so to kind of a little bit background on how to get started, we have a free 30-day evaluation. And on top of that, what we're doing is we've got a large Atlassian Starter Pack program, as well as a team edition and just now launched department edition, where you can actually start with a 100 or 100 user, named user edition within any size Confluence. Pricing on those is 30% of Confluence pricing across the board. So if you have any questions, feel free to email myself. Follow us at TaskDoc, and we're up at booth number 8 for a couple more hours. Thank you.
We have Francois from Minya.
Thank you.
Take her away.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about Minya. That's a plugin suite designed to make your life easier and support complex usage scenarios. In other words, we want to make you go beyond Jira. I'm going to start with a couple of slides about who we are. Then we'll take a look a bit about what we have in Minya. So we're a company called Pyxis Technologies. We're a company out of Montreal and Paris, so we're French speaking. So sorry if there's a little accent. We've been involved in agile software development. So first we were mainly a consulting and training company in agile. We started using Scrum like when everyone thought it was a weird idea, like 10 years ago, kind of. So eventually we started to build some products. Probably some of you have heard of a product called Green Hopper. We were the original maker of that. We also have Green Pepper, obviously Minya, and if some of your team are doing Agile, we have a free timer called Agility Timer to be able to time your daily scrums or daily stand-ups. So Minya is divided in three sub-projects or three set of plugins, mainly two, which are time and workflow. So I have included, we have some, in the slide deck, you have some slides about some details, but I'll go directly to a video so that you can see what it is. So one of the key feature, one of the module is time. Okay, one of the key feature we have in our time module is the ability to qualify the work log using work log types. This will allow you to qualify time without having to break issues in subtasks. We also have gadget to make it very easy to enter and edit work log. Is it? Okay, it's going. So here's the work log type, and then you'll see the edit. So we also give you an enhanced view of your work log and the time spent for an issue. So the reports are easily configurable. You can use drag and drop to show the columns and everything. So we also provide you with advanced reporting capabilities. Okay, so this is the edit screen. So for your portlet, you can easily edit work logs, and it automatically maintains the list of your active issues for you. So we also have, what we're going to see after is also provide gadgets would allow you to have some pre-configured reports. So you can look at your data entry in a lot of different ways. So you can pre-configure some reports with some pre-configured parameters and everything, and it'll make it easy for you to get to those reports. So all of our reports are aggregated, and as you see, you can easily navigate them. These are the predefined reports gadgets, as I mentioned. So for a given project, for your current users and everything. The second module we're really focused on is workflow. It's one of the most important module, if not the most important. The first area where we focus is to expand the workflow capabilities in Jira to be able to handle more real-life and complex scenario easily. So specifically, we have common and global transition. We also provide a simple way to answer data integrity check via workflow conditions and everything. We also provide the ability to have service that run periodically for a set of issues, to transition issues to a given state on some workflow conditions. So basically, it allows you to create your own version of easily create your own version of something that like Atlassian's Hercules robot. So what you see now is the editor. Now we're in this version, we're shipping a workflow editor. So it will allow you to load any kind of workflow. It will allow you to create workflow from scratch. It obviously exposes all of the extra functionalities we have put in Minya for workflows. So if some of you have done some workflow editing in Jira, you know it's sometimes painful. So this tool will give you really a nice and easy way to be able to edit and modify your workflows in Jira. It's completely integrated in Jira. It's not an application that you load on the side. It's integrated in the application, so you just click Edit Workflow, you get this screen, and then you can do all of the operations. We have advanced layout capabilities and stuff like that. So the video shows some more features like the global transitions, and show you some of the layout, as I said, some of the layout options that we have to be able to hide and show some of the things to better visualize the workflow. While the video is finishing, we hope you'll find that Minya is a piece that completes well Jira on the time and workflow aspects. If you want to know more and if you want to look at it more closely, make sure you come by our booth. Licenses, just a quick word about licenses. We have the starter package, like a lot of the commercial plugins. So starter licenses at $10, and also you can find all of the pricing and information on the website.
So I'm from Syslus. We make a product called the Jira Workflow Designer. It's an alternative way to create and edit workflows from Jira. If you've ever done it in Jira, it's a little bit confusing. Hopefully we've made it a bit easier. So I've created a video that demonstrates the differences between the built-in editor and our product. I think it pretty much speaks for itself, so I'll just go ahead and play the video. Yep, the current functionality. And here's the workflow designer. you can find more information at syslist.com
Also available on the Plugin Exchange,
and the plugin exchange. Yep.
plugins.atlassian.com. Thank you, Jonathan. Great. Well, thank you to the four speakers just now. We have a few more minutes, and actually, we just heard from four developers of plugins, but we also have Kevin Williams, who is one of our sales engineers here at Atlassian.
Like Bill said, I'm a sales engineer. We churn through a couple hundred emails a month kind of as a team. And yeah, the other day, or kind of when this talk came about, I kind of scraped through all the text of every email that we've written for the last quarter, which is a couple thousand of them, and looked for links to our plugin exchange to see kind of what we were recommending. And my theme is kind of more free must-have plugins. And so I've got 7 up here. Free plugins tend to fall in my mind, at least into 3 categories. One is that, which most of these are, is that they're useful, just kind of little, almost niche pieces. They're not quite as developed or as sexy as some of the things that you've just seen from the plugin developers. Second thing is they could be actually really powerful, but they're not terribly user-friendly. And so those don't tend to fall into my must-have categories, because there's a certain market for them. A lot of you guys might use scaffolding or theme builder. Both those incredibly powerful, awesome plugins, but there is a learning curve. These are all pretty much plug and play. Here we go. And the third kind of category of free plugins is that someone at Atlassian did it as a side project and then kind of just left it on the plugin exchange. And there's a couple of those on here as well. So Bill mentioned the plugin exchange. I've mentioned it a couple times. Most of you guys have probably been there. It's new. We love it. But we also we could really use your help. I think there's something like 400 or so plugins on the exchange right now, and maybe a total of like 150 ratings and comments. So that means most plugins haven't gotten any love yet. You know, if everyone in this room just took 2 plugins they know they use, guaranteed that you use something that's on there, give it a review if you like it, if you hate it. It's just going to it'll make my life easier too, because when evaluators come to us and they want information on what plugins and stuff they should use, it's nice to point them with something that has some user feedback as well, beyond just kind of what I'm saying to them. So again, go to plugins.atlassian.com, put a review up there, throw a rating, and we'd appreciate it. And I think it'll be beneficial kind of for everyone as well, the network effect. So I'm just going to quickly, we don't have too much time, I'm just going to kind of quickly go over the 7 must-haves that, again, I'm kind of recommending all the time. One is Jira Suite Utilities. It's a set of workflow kind of companions. There's a couple of post functions, a couple of validators, a couple of conditions. Very useful. Kind of helps you out when you're making things required fields. It can also let you kind of compare dates. Again, useful. Just check it out. Miscellaneous workflow extension, same sort of thing. It has post functions, validators, conditions. Has some nice things for SAS 70 compliance that kind of lets you enforce a separation of powers so that one person can't move an issue too many steps in the workflow, so you can kind of separate that out. It also allows you to kind of sync up your parent tasks and subtasks if you want their fields to automatically match. Kind of saves you some clicks and stuff in Jira. The third one, this is actually kind of like Minya, but not on, or Minya would be this plugin on steroids. It would kind of be, this is the gateway to Minya. A very simple gadget that kind of aggregates Jira's, it's called Timesheet Report and Portlet. Very simple gadget, aggregates the work log data that you have in Jira, puts it on the page. Managers can look at it, super easy, but something that isn't built into Jira out of the box. And so then we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at a couple of the Confluence plugins that we're recommending all the time. The first one is the documentation theme, which is actually bundled with the product now, but in my opinion, if you haven't upgraded to 3.0 or 3.1, this is actually my favorite feature that's come out for Confluence in that time. And some of the stuff that you saw Bill demonstrate probably yesterday that's coming in Confluence 4.0 is going to be really going to want to get you to upgrade. But this documentation theme, it does what the left-hand nav theme doesn't do, which is provide a left-hand navigation. And it also just has rounded corners. It's really easy to insert a header. We use it in all our documentation. It took us about 4 days before we were sold on it. Easy to insert a header so that we can in our case, we let customers know that, hey, you're in an old version of the documentation. You're looking at, a couple versions old. You can also just put in announcements or warnings. So if there's a company holiday party coming up, you can just throw that really easily into the header. Table Plus macro, this one's been around a while, but again, very useful. We've all used Confluence tables, and we know that there's some pros and some cons. And this one, it's a simple macro that you just put around what is otherwise a normal wiki markup table and lets you highlight rows. You can sort the table either numerically or alphabetically, depending on the kind of contents of a column. Useful, really easy to use. And the same goes for the content formatting macro from Adaptivist. This one, actually, the iPad commercial that's been playing where they kind of, they're showing all these people using the iPad and then they just say, you already know how to use it. That's kind of how I feel about content formatting. If you want to change the color of your wiki markup, well then use the color macro. If you want to center something or align it differently, use the align macro. All the names are really easy to use. It's also great for people who are doing custom themes with CSS because it has a div macro, you can throw that in there. Just kind of gives you more flexibility if you are customizing Confluence using the CSS styling. So again, very easy to use. And when end users who don't necessarily know the plugins installed, when they see it in the macro browser, it just kind of makes sense, and they just go ahead and use it. And then the last one is actually 3 plugins, one of which I haven't actually used yet, but it just came out, I think, a month or so ago, for copying spaces or part of a space, so kind of a page hierarchy. One of them is the Copy Space plugin. That one's from Atlassian. That goes in the category of something that was whipped up for FedEx Day and then hasn't gotten too much love since, but it works. We use that for our documentation. Valientus just came out with a plugin that allows you to turn a page hierarchy into a new space. Really useful if you're the sort of company that has projects where you're creating new spaces frequently and you kind of need a project or a space template almost. You can create a tree hierarchy of pages, then copy those over so you can have just kind of that structure set up. And then there's a new one called Copy Page Tree, which again, I actually just saw it when I was searching on the Plugin Exchange. Haven't used it yet. It looks like you can kind of just check which pages in the hierarchy and then move them over. I don't know how it handles same name pages within a space or if it creates a new space, so I don't actually have much information on that one, but it's there. And again, something that I'd love if you guys went and checked out and then maybe threw up a review or something on the Plugin Exchange. And that's just the summary. All the ones I mentioned today are free. There's, I think, around 85 or 90% of the plugins on the Exchange are free, and I'll be out at the Charlie Bar or the Atlas Bar afterwards if you do want more recommendations. Again, there's tons of them. I'm probably recommending a couple hundred a month, and these are just a few of the most common ones. So, and be sure to thank the free plugin designers as well if you see them or if you know who they are, because Confluence and Jira wouldn't be what they are without them. So thanks.